Three, two, one. Turntables activated. Get ready.
The most versatile hip-hop radio station in the world.
You can talk about us, but you can't talk without us. Phenomenal radio. We are what radio should be. You could listen to one of those other stations, but what would your friends think?
Holy where'd you find this?
You're locked into the number one online radio station.
Here we go!
It's not that your radio sounds strange. You just found a station that plays what you like.
Phenomenal radio.
Radio just got a lot more fun. Thanks for listening.
Phenomenal Radio, PhenomRadio.com, the most versatile hip-hop station in the world where we take the power of the industry and put it in the hands of the independent. I am your brother at Juan Carlos 6, at Slatestone Music Anywhere Online. Global Audio Forensics in here with my brothers. We have a phenomenal guest in here for another phenomenal show. Tap in with us on any search engine, hashtag the 1000 Network, hashtag Phenom Radio. You'll find us. And with that being said, I'm going to throw it over there to my brother, DJ Despair. You muted, bro. Go ahead, James. I don't know what's going on.
Sorry, the mic went off. You hear me now?
Yes, sir.
All right, go ahead. Yeah, we can hear you. You good?
My bad. I edit this later. This is DJ Despair, Street Killers ENT. Salute here at Audio Forensics, hailing from Canada between Winnipeg and Toronto. Big James.
What's going on, everybody? How everybody doing? Thank you for checking in with us on this Vainglorious Saturday. We're about to have a great time. We have a world-renowned guest today, super hilarious, a gentleman. You know what I'm saying? It's classic, classy, but still keeps it funky on the regular. See, from day one. Snap the finger, crack jokes on you right off the back. Doesn't make any difference who you are, where you've been, or where you're going. I've witnessed him on several occasions because he's been a regular at all the different comedy clubs and comedy spots across the country for the last 20, 25 years. Might I say, today is a pleasure to have one of the original bad boys of comedy, one of the originals of BET's Comic View, one of the originals of HBO's Def Jam Comedy. I mean, Comedy Central. I mean, shit, man, you name it, and the list goes on and on. And those are just attributes from his career as a comic. And man, in the last 10, 15 years, he's been a consistent actor, and he's been on a lot of major networks like ABC, NBC, you name it. But I'm not going to tell his story. I just wanted to give everybody who's tapped in with us a light introduction. So without further ado, please, along with the rest of us, welcome the one and only actor/comic, Shaun Jones.
That sounds like an obituary. Shit, I'm ready to view the body. I'm like, good Lord, who was this? When did he die? That's the only thing you said. You gave everything else and said when he died. What's happening, man? How y'all feeling, brothers?
Amazing.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for that wonderful introduction. If you ain't have so much hair on your face, I'd kiss you in the mouth, nigga. But I'm glad you got a beard.
Right. Indeed. We definitely appreciate you, brother. So we don't want to take too much of your time, but when did you recognize your gift for making people laugh and doing the things that you're doing now at this day and time? How was that for you?
Well, it started when your supervisor bring a box with your belongings in it to you and tell you you are no longer wanted at this company. That's kind of like an indication that you might need to find something else to do. Nah, nah, man. It's I guess it's been in me since an early age. It was nothing that I aspired to do per se. I in school, I was always want to just say what the first thing comes to mind, and it just happens to be something witty or funny. But I never considered myself funny or future comic. Is what God gave me. God told me that this was what He wanted me to do, so it was like inevitable. But yeah, I would have to say in high school was one of the first times that I said something that made a whole classroom, including brother Ralph, the priest that we had that was teaching our class, brother Ray, right? Yeah, brother Ralph. Yeah, it was yeah. We had sex ed in Catholic school. Go figure. Go figure. Who better to teach you about sex than somebody vowed never to have sex? That's a good teacher.
Right?
You
Let
know
you know a little bit about what's really going on, right?
exactly. Yeah, this is what we do to the altar boys.
Oh.
No.
Well, I was going to ask you if you remember that joke, but what it was that you said.
We can delete that part out. We can take that out of the obituary. Take that part out of the obituary.
No, we're gonna keep that in.
Yeah, see, that's
Yes,
blackmail
sir,
stuff
brother.
right
Yes,
there.
sir, brother.
No Diddy. No.
Oh no, we're not gonna touch. Don't tell me you have a Diddy story.
No, trust me,
All
I
right.
don't, brother. Trust me, I don't. I do not have one of those at all. Nah, I'm good on those stories.
Yes, sir.
Man, y'all
Yes, sir.
excuse
Nah.
me, man. I gotta go get
So,
some.
so how was your first stand up?
Honestly, it was, man, let me tell you something. The coolest part about my career, I tell people, is not I have had a great career overall. Of course, with anything else, you have ups and downs, but man, I've had a dope career because the first time I went on stage is the last time I worked a regular job. And I'm coming up on my 30th year. I'm 30 years in this business. So, the first time on stage it was so enlightening and so exhilarating. You know what I mean? I just was so amped up with, being able to make strangers laugh at the things that I thought of writing before coming there. There's no preparation, there's no blueprint when you go on stage. You know what I'm saying? You gotta trust in what you wrote is gonna resonate with the audience. So when you finally, you have that connection, it's no other feeling. You know what I mean? It's like I thought these things were funny, and now I'm presenting it to a room of people from different walks of life, different age groups, different backgrounds, and you making them laugh collectively at what you wrote. I consider that a gift and a blessing. So that's what the first experience was on stage, and man, it was like overwhelming feeling of happiness.
Yes, sir, brother. And that's interesting that you or is a blessing that you said that and that happened for you because that being the last time you ever worked a job and doing it 30 years till now, not many can say or do that.
For
One of
real.
my Yes, sir. So in that we know there's ups and downs with everything. What would you say one of your high points was in your 30 years running so far? One of your highest points, and then what was one of your lowest points, if you don't mind sharing with us?
Oh man, it's so many high points to look at, to choose from. It's really hard to put it to pick one. You know, it's like having the NFL and saying putting your Mount Rushmore, MCs or whatever. There's so many different choices. You need more than just one. Um, one of the most memorable moments and one of the special moments I would have to say is when one of my sons was a baby. He was like 2 years old, and he was at the show, and I brought my kids on stage and introduced them to the audience, and introduced them. Then they went off stage, and I didn't realize it that my baby boy came back on stage and gave me a standing ovation. So behind me, he was clapping, and it just so happened that the manager of the club happened to be walking right past the stage and turned and snapped a picture. And it's like one of the most memorable pictures that I have in my comedy career, where I'm standing at the microphone, and behind me you can see my 2-year-old son giving me a standing ovation. That was a dope moment. So. Uh, just not even necessarily the performance wise, that was one of the most memorable special moments in my career. um One of the I say one of the hardest moments, I don't know, man. It's really hard to say. I would have to say the time where I had to leave my grandmother's funeral, jump on the plane and come back and do a show that night. Or my father, I had to do a show the night that my father passed. I was in Louisiana and I had to go on stage, but in both cases it was exactly what they would have wanted. They know this is my safe haven, this is my therapy. So what other place would I be in such a dark moment in my life, but on stage? So if I had to, specify or to clarify or to pinpoint a low point, that would have to be it. Where I had to go on stage and perform after my father passed and my grandmother. So
Yes, sir. And one more question before I throw it to DJ Despair. As you're here on your 30 years in the culture and industry of acting and as a comedian and traveling and doing what you do, what's your take on the industry right now in 2025? What's some good things or what's some bad things? What direction do you see it going in? If you don't mind sharing.
well, I mean, the thing is that we have to realize, and I think now as the smoke clears, as older comics, we all complain about, man, they get on the internet, they on, it sounds easy. Country Wayne said this a long time ago, and that I like this when he said it, because he catapulted very quickly in his career, where he got so many millions of followers, and a lot of you got to be truthful about a lot of us older comics was hitting them hard. You know what I mean? You ain't no real comic and all this different stuff, but but he said, look, you say it's easy to get, to do this, but if it was that easy, why aren't you doing it? It's hard. It's difficult to get a million people to believe in what it is that you're saying. You know what I'm saying? And he was able to do that. He was able to, you know, he was able to figure out what works for him, and he made it work. So from that perspective, hey, it's a new day and age. There was a time where our parents was like, man, that TV shit ain't gonna go nowhere. Ain't nobody don't want to hear, watch TV. We listen to this, we listen to shows on the radio. And then here we are, 50, 60 years later. So things have to evolve and things move forward and progress. So, of course, somebody like myself who had to drive 10, 12 hours to a show, do a show, turn around, drive back home, and get enough money just to come home broke, we paid our dues. We were out there in the trenches. So, yeah, we were trained differently, and we might be a little bit mentally stronger with dealing with things in this business, but things have changed and things have gotten easier. It's just a different avenue. Both roads are difficult. If you grew up now, you say, well, the next generation be looking at it, well, we had to go to the internet and get people to follow us, so that's the thing, that the downfall for me with the whole age that we're in with computers and phones and all this social media is the fact of people like myself get lost in the shuffle. You know what I mean? Because the same clubs that I've kept in business for 30 years now, I'm gonna say it, they take the easy road out. So now when you used to have at a comedy club during the daytime, you got 10, 15, 20 people sitting in a room calling people to try to get them to come out to the comedy show. When you have the clubs going to the radio station buying ads and putting comedians on the radio so people in that particular city can hear us and say, hey, that dude sounds funny, let me go out to the comedy show. Now you can just depend on social media, and people get caught up on, if I don't know this dude from social media, he must not be anybody. So it's like, for me, it's harder for me to get a week at a comedy club because they got this cat over here that has 1 million followers, that when he puts it on his social media, he has a built-in audience. So the clubs don't want to work as much as they did before. And we all know, as you say, as you get older, you work, smarter, not harder. But at the same time, I come from an era where talent meant most. And I'm not saying that they're not talented, but it's shown that a lot of some cats, yeah, that social media presence doesn't resonate on the stage in front of a bunch of people. Yeah, when you can do a 30-second, 60-second clip on the internet, on social media, it's more than 60 seconds when you got to stand on that stage for 60 minutes. you know so it's a different beast. you know but everything has its reasons, and
Yes.
rhymes and reasons. So I just I just try to adjust to what's going on. Try not to complain about it. That's unnecessary energy.
Indeed, brother. Indeed. Despair.
Man, I've been watching you from a long time with your comedy, and
Hey
I
man,
think
don't make me feel old. Look at see, you be sneaky when you say that. I had this lady tell me that today. Whoa, I used to watch you with my mother and my
no,
father.
no, 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 no. I really like because a lot of people don't know about Def Jam comedy and a lot of the stuff and everything, and especially being here in Canada, it was really hard to get a lot of that stuff unless you had certain networks or certain things. We didn't have the internet back then, so
Right.
elaborating on what you're saying is like for you, and especially like us as DJs and artists and stuff, 80s and 90s to early 2000, the only way people saw you was from the Def Jam comedy tapes,
Yeah.
DVDs, mixtapes, being features on mixtapes. I've watched your career for a while that you've done a lot to make yourself relevant. And even to
Thanks,
this
man.
day, you how is it now competing with a lot of these new comedians?
Man, the thing is, I don't compete with anybody. This is a
Thank
solo race. You know what I'm saying? Whatever blessings God have for you, those are yours. And there's no reason for me to compete with something that I can never win if it's your blessing. So I stay in my own lane. I just set the path for myself. I just stay relevant. First of all, the thing that keeps me relevant and keeps me working hard as I do is the love for the game. I'm not in that. And I used to do a comedy. I used to do a comedy workshop, and when I had new comics in front of me, the first thing I would say, if you're here for the money, the women, or the notoriety, get up and leave right now because it's gonna be a long time before you get those things. It takes time to build up to those things. So, like I said, I've driven across country to a show, did the show and not get paid. I've driven to across country, did a show and didn't have enough gas, and all the comedians had to put our money together. I remember me and my boy, big Sean Canillas out of New York. We were in South Carolina, and we didn't have enough money. It was either food or gas, and we went to Waffle House and we got some hash browns and whatever they can do to them, scattered, covered, smothered, chunk, bump, whatever you can do to them. We put everything on it, just to have a meal that we can eat. But here we are, still hustling, and I still have a love for the game. And I think as long as the way that I keep working, and staying focused and not getting discouraged with the change in the industry is the love I have for it, man. The passion that I have for this. I only can do things to the fullest that I have a passion for. So that's
So
how I keep.
are you ever gonna come up with your own special?
I honestly, okay, so here it is.
Yeah.
I have a special out. It's on Amazon Prime and it's on Tubi. Uh, there was some behind the scenes problems that we had with it. It wasn't the editing as far as sound wasn't edited to my liking, so I don't promote it as hard. And I mean, it looks great. It's a great looking special, but honestly, the laughter that was in the room wasn't. It is not resonating through the special. So Ricky Smiley and myself have been talking about. Ricky wants to do my next special, but honestly, let me tell you something. That's another thing I feel about comedy specials. And to anybody that's doing specials, God bless you. You have that opportunity. That's on you. But I just come from the old school era when Eddie Murphy put out a comedy special. What, every 3-4 years? Richard Pryor. It wasn't today. Every time you turn around, somebody's doing another special. And that's just not me because that takes away from the actual word special. When your wife says she's gonna give you something special on your birthday, she's gonna do some freaky shit. You know what I'm saying? So you know what I'm saying. So,
Damn
but if
right.
she said I'm gonna do something special that I did yesterday, you're like, man, you ain't do a good job yesterday. I damn sure don't want that today. But wait, let me make sure my wife can't hear me. But you know what I'm saying. So I
Mm.
just it's and this is no knock on anybody. I want to make it. It's no knock on anybody. But my thing is, so many people. If you're doing so many specials, I just say they fit. For me, if I would do that many, it's a tape performance. It's a film performance and not a special. Now, I do know a couple of cats that, like Ali Sadiq. Ali has done a lot of specials, but see, he has a series. His specials correspond with each other. You know what I mean? They're connected to each other. So that's a special series. So,
Mhm.
that's dope the way that he does that. You know what I mean? But I just, some cats I'm like, damn, you doing another special. You know what I'm saying? That's just I just come up, it's just like the old school quarterback. You want to hold true to a lot of traditions. And I just think if I'm going to come out with a special, because I could, Ricky and I were talking about doing my special this year, and I said, nah, I'm good. I'm not. I'm good. I haven't come up with something, you know, something that is showing all of me to the world, that I perfected already. So it's going to take me another year
Well,
to
yeah,
do a
like
special.
like you said earlier when you brought up Big Country, like
Yeah,
when I watch what he does and the amount of money he puts into doing his like skits online and all that
yeah.
stuff, like um have you thought of doing stuff like that with the TikTok stuff and being like all these different things and doing the different
I've done
versions
it.
on?
I've done some sketches. I had a whole film crew that was getting paid monthly to do sketches. I mean, you got to do it to stay relevant to a certain degree, but it's just not me, man. It's just not. It's I can't. I'm be honest. I can't fully commit to the demand that comes behind what Country Wayne does. That's his lane. He does it well. He's dedicated. That's his passion. You know what I'm saying? So it's easy for him to sit in front of a computer and punch out scripts and do sketches and all this different stuff. That's his thing. That's not me. I just, it's hard to sit up there and come up with a sketch and get the people involved and sell this, and then film this sketch and condense it down to a minute, minute and a half, 2 minutes. Man, that's too much shit. I'm long-winded as you can see, so that's hard. It's just not. If I had a choice between putting up my stand-up clips versus doing sketches and reaction videos, I'm a comedian. You should see what I do. I don't go to a football game and watch this nigga play a guitar. You know, you know what I'm
So,
saying? I want to see him play football. I want to see him in his element. I want to see what he's a professional at. I'm a professional at acting, but that's not my my main title. So I want when you come to my page, I want you to see funny. And that's the problem I got with a lot of cats that come say, "Hey man, let me open up for you." And I go to their page and they have everything except comedy. Like, nigga, what you gonna do for me? If you're a comedian, let me see you commit, man.
Right.
so it's so in this game, like you've opened for like who's the biggest comedians that you've got a chance to open for and work with?
Oh man, I've worked with everybody. Fortunately, man, Kevin Hart used to do guest spots on my show in Philly at the Laugh House. That's my dude. And you can't say nothing bad to me about Kev, man. That's my guy, man. I've worked with Cedric the Entertainer. Cedric put me on the first big show I worked on was with Cedric. When he had Cedric and Friends. I think, man, it might have been about 3,000, 4,000 people. Me and Ricky Smiley, we tour together now. I tour with
No, no.
Ricky. Me and Ricky been like brothers since day one. We on the same management. I met my ex-wife through Ricky, and I still speak to him because of that. So we've been rolling for 30 years. So I travel with Ricky, Bill Bellamy. We from Newark, we from the bricks. So I traveled with Bill for a while. I mean, everybody in this business, somewhere somehow I've connected to them. There's a few still that I haven't worked with, but I know. So yeah.
How's it working with Bill Bellamy? Because I really like his comedian. It's like ever since that movie from back in the days, it's like he,
You
he
learn.
he he's underrated also as a comedian for a lot of things, but he like I love his like I just love his attitude and the way he is.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool because we both from the bricks. People from New Jersey are cool people. We from Newark, New Jersey, all of us. Queen Latifah, Naughty by Nature, Lauren Hill and Wyclef, all of us, Red Man. We all from the same neighborhood. All Newark, East Orange, Orange, Vailsburg. That's that whole circle of people. So, and Bill also, because Bill used to host Club 88 back in the day.
Yeah.
Bill's a cool dude, man. Bill knows everybody. He has a lot of stories to tell because I mean he literally knows everybody, and it's cool with me and Bill because when we used to come out for the show, we used to meet in the lobby at the hotel. We trying to look at each other to make sure, because for some reason we always come out with like the same type of outfit, because we both got the same, fashion sense. And we was like a group, a music group on tour, man. But it was dope. We used to have a lot of fun, man. We used to have a lot of fun on that tour, man. A lot of fun.
Respect. Dick James.
Peace and love. So
Yes,
I'm
sir.
gonna do something that I'm almost certain that not many, if any, have done. I'm sitting here in my room and I'm looking around on my wall of
Okay, LL
fame.
Cool J. What you think I'm sitting alone.
Hold in my room.
Never fail, never miss that one.
Right. When
Hey,
I'm home
look.
alone and sitting in the room. All right, go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Yeah, look, I'm looking around in my wall of fame, and I'm seeing Red Fox. I'm seeing rest in peace to Red Fox. I'm seeing rest in peace to Robin Harris. Um, I'm seeing Eddie Murphy, and rest in peace to Richard Pryor. The four of the greatest of a transitional period of time. And so in the introduction, I say you were classy, classic, super hilarious, a gentleman, but also funky, hood, bug, Inglewood, New Jersey. Why you getting funky on me?
I know
You
Inglewood.
ain't cutting them no slack. You give them love, but you ain't cutting them no slack. If you got one on them, everybody gonna know. But out of those four originals, the modern day four, which one are you?
Did I put in the mix like can be relevant now, can do their thing?
Absolutely.
Oh, oh man, that's impossible to even, because all of them could be, can still hold their own. Richard Pryor, of course, the thing about Richard, and if you look at people like Dave Chappelle, his tragedy was his comedy. So with as much stuff that people go through today, and they're triggering, everybody's triggered and all that bullshit, I mean, it's like therapy. A lot of people need therapy, so he would be definitely be able to compete and still be the king in today's comedy world. And a lot of people don't know about Red Fox. They know Red Fox from Sanford and Son, but that was a whole different cat. I mean, he'll tear you up. Red Fox will, talk about you like a dog, and keep it smooth and smoke his cigarette. You know what I'm saying? And not bat an eye. Eddie Murphy. Eddie, it's of course, now if you look at Eddie, he's a different man. He's a father. He's a grandfather. I mean, he's comfortable in his bank account. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it- the drive that I have in me is not the same drive that he has. Because he even said, I was talking to somebody recently, and they were talking about how Eddie was like, man, I can't come back now. I can't do it. I can't get in that this comedy world, because it's a different beast. And it's honestly, it's like we all go through that. Like, I was in the mall today, man. I had to get out of there, because it's like I go in these stores, the fashion that I can't relate to the fashion. I can't relate to the music. It's like, bruh, what are we listening to in our stores? But I was in that at one point. We stayed in there. We stayed in these stores. We stayed in the mall. We stayed in these fashions. But as you get older, you just you don't always stay in that direction that you were in. So, I mean, if I had to say one who couldn't, it would be Eddie Murphy, because he's just on a different playing field. He doesn't have that desire or that craving to go on stage and perform in front of an audience. You know what I mean? So, but we can't talk with Richard Pryor, like I said, Red Fox, and the rest of them. But yeah, I would say Richard Pryor would still be he's still dope, man. Because you can just listen to his. I was listening to some of his live on the strip the other day, and I was like, man, these jokes still hit. They still
Yeah.
hit. You know. So
Improv, bro. I mean, and
yeah,
that's really what
man.
you pretty damn good at. You
Thank you, man.
improv,
I
man,
I don't know where it
spontaneous,
come
bro.
from. I don't know where it comes from, man. My mind is a junkyard of bullshit that comes out like a like a Powerball, just shoot up and just come out my mouth, man. You know, and I tell people like, you know, if you ask anybody from my high school, man, it was like, well, going back to what we are talking about earlier. When I was in high school, we had sex ed, and it's just like, you know, we were in this class this one particular day, and I swear to God, it's the true stories, no exaggeration of it. There was a girl in one in my class, my sex ed class, and her question to the priest who was teaching the class, Brother Ralph, she said, if you're giving a guy oral sex and he ejaculates in your mouth, can you get pregnant? Now that sounds like a legitimate, like a logical question, and without me putting my head up from I'm writing on my notepad and I'm listening to what she said, and there's a legitimate question: if you're giving a man oral sex and he ejaculates in your mouth, can you get pregnant? I said, nah, you just have baby teeth, and that was, and and the class exploded, and I didn't even. It wasn't even meant to make people laugh. It was just like, it's a logical, this is a dumbass question. You're gonna get a dumbass answer that makes sense to both. And yeah, and Brother Ralph, he couldn't even chastise me. He was laughing so hard. So, you know, it's just how my mind works. I'm very distorted in my mind. I can't afford therapy, so I go on stage.
Sometimes, as a therapist, you have to be therapy to yourself.
Right, exactly.
Therapy comes in the form of seeing us get a damn, a crack out of you, because,
Yeah.
I'm struggling with my allergies and my sinuses, and I need to be able to talk. And every other chance you get, you throwing some shit out there, and then, you
Right.
got me sinuses and shit, nose running,
You
eyes
like the boy
running.
in the plastic bubble. You out in the fresh air. You can't survive out there. That was the boy in the plastic bubble. You John Travolta. Y'all might not even remember that. That was a long time ago. At the end of the movie, he
Yeah,
came
I
out the
remember.
bubble. He was allergic to everything. They kept him in a plastic bubble.
Right.
Yeah, y'all don't remember that. That was a long time ago.
That's
I
funny.
remember the movie. I remember it.
That was a dope movie. But yeah, man. So,
Look, man, Mississippi Who's Who Recognition Award. You got roots down here. You
oh
got
yeah.
roots in Jersey, Carolina, and us Jones bloodline want to see you. I want to give
Yeah.
you that award. It's August 31st. Let's work towards you being able to come down here so you can receive that award and get to see
Cool,
some
man.
family. And let's
Yeah.
let's make and break some bread. Put a comedy show on that Saturday prior to that Sunday, because that is Labor Day weekend,
Oh
and
yeah,
this
I
is the
stay.
third annual. We got Marcus Dupree, former
Right.
Oklahoma great. I forgot his name, but he's a Hall of Fame Harlem Globetrotter.
Okay.
We got K Dub from Ti, Tiny and the
Right.
Family, and we got a few others. They got the Mississippi roots that are coming down. That's gonna
Right,
make it
right.
an exceptional award show. We've grown tremendously,
That's
and we
dope.
want
Yeah.
we
I was
want to
just
be
down
able
in
to do this
Mississippi.
with you. Yes,
Yeah, I
sir.
was just down in Hattiesburg. I was just down in Hattiesburg
An
not too
hour
long.
and 45 minutes away
Yeah.
from Columbus.
Columbus. Yeah, yeah. That's my family. I think my stepdaughter lives there now. Yeah,
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 she
yeah. I
does.
think. I think.
She does. I
Yeah.
know. I know exactly who you're talking about.
Yeah.
And so that's why I'm saying what I'm saying. I was in a circle of some of the family, and yeah,
Right.
they'll come out and support you because they've seen and watched your career, but have not had an opportunity to see you. At least not in Mississippi, maybe in Atlanta, Florida, or some other places they've had to
Right.
travel to see you. But to have you, actual Jones blood, live
Right.
in the flesh, oh yeah, they're gonna come out and they're gonna show out for that. So thank
Yeah,
you
they're
for
gonna put on
showing
the
up,
shoe.
cuzzo. Yeah, I
They
mean,
gonna
I'm gonna get out there and I'm gonna make sure me and everybody on the team spread the word, because that's royalty, family. I mean, it's like coming
yeah.
home. We want to make sure we lay out the red carpet for you because you're one of our own, and we're happy to be able to say that. You, Nas, AB Money, Big Daddy Kane, and that's that Jones Hardy Johnson bloodline. We first blood, man.
Right.
And some people may not have had the opportunity to realize that, but this interview is gonna help a lot of people figure it out. We
Right.
have
Right.
almost 100 million listeners in our network. We're in
Tell each one to give me
$129
$1.
countries. Hey, you know, when you come
Yeah.
down here to Columbus, I have to
Just
take
one
care of you.
dollar.
I have to
Just
take care
$1
of you.
from every one of them. Just $1.
Ooh.
And lock, close the
Yes,
door.
sir. Yeah,
Close
yeah,
the door.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, tell everybody where they can find you, and if you have any upcoming shows that you care to mention, please do that before we get out of here.
Cool, man. You can find me on all social media. It's Comic Shaun Jones. It's SHAU. Now, don't put a W in there, and don't spell it SEAN. That's the high credit score one. So it's SHAUN, Comic Shaun Jones. I'm touring with Ricky Smiley, like I said now, and I'm also doing my own thing. I got a residency up at Harris Casino up in Cherokee, North Carolina. I got it. I don't know if people seen the commercial that annoys everybody that's on every 5 minutes with the
Insurance.
allied and injury group. I'm the lawyer with the red glasses with say all the big words. That commercial's running, and if that commercial gets on your nerve, we just film 4 more of those bad boys. So I'll be getting on your nerves that much more. So just look for me in the commercials. Got a couple of acting gigs out there, man. That's on the book, in the works right now. But you can catch me back in the past, some old movies with Jamie Foxx called Shade. Catch me on Your Worst Nightmare. So, I'll be around. And God willing, I'll be doing a lot more. So hopefully when I come back, man, I have more stuff to tell y'all.
Yeah, you got a lot. We just cutting it short so we can,
Thank you.
stay on time with the
Yeah,
restrictions
put it
and
in the
guidelines.
obituary. Put
Yeah,
it in
you
the
know how.
obituary. I'm
Hey,
coming back to Canada too. I was up in Canada not too long ago. I was up
When?
at, I forgot what part of Canada I was in. Yeah, it was dope, man.
When you
I
coming?
love Canada. I don't know, man, but I'm coming. What part of Canada you in?
I'm in Winnipeg.
Oh yeah, you up there? Yeah, I've done shows up in Winnipeg and Montreal and Vancouver,
So
and
let's set it
I've
up.
been
You come
all over
here.
Calgary. Yeah,
I want you to do a show here in Winnipeg, and then we do a after party.
let's do it. We can do it in the summertime. I think summertime in Canada is June 1st and 2nd. Y'all get 2 days worth of hot
Because
weather.
I know you've been doing the comedy club out here. I know you've been to Rumors and all that. But the whole
Yeah.
thing is that I have another idea for you where it's going to be like, uh, I want basically, we'll talk more outside of this. But
Okay.
with some of your experience, there's a lot of new comedians and a lot of stuff coming out that could use the
Let's
knowledge
do
and
it.
get to know people like you. And a lot of
Right.
people
Right.
haven't done that because shout out to my homie Russell Peters and all that stuff.
Yeah. Russell's killing it.
I watched Russell from when he was on radio doing from with Mastermind to
Right.
one day we're sitting in the radio. He came down here for a show and he's sitting in the studio. He came to my radio show and he's scratching and stuff. And I'm just laughing. Now, look, he does it now. He kidnapped Hubert one time to go learn. And, it's like a lot of you guys are also pillars of the hip hop scene. And a
Right.
lot of
Right.
us have used your samples and stuff on our mixtapes and stuff over the years. So it'd be good to
Right.
have that knowledge and that era around more because the new comedians are coming around all the time. But there's a lot of people who are not reaching out to actually speak on things with the other
Right.
comedians and all the other stuff. So,
Yeah.
just like with us
It's,
in music, right? Each one teach one.
Exactly. Yeah, that's great. I mean, I would love to be a part of that, man. And unfortunately, there's a wall between the two. A lot of times, if you go to one of these comics now and try to give them the game, they look at you like, "How you gonna tell me what to do? I got 1 million followers. I got 1 million people." So they don't want to hear what it is.
Listen,
They look at us as we antiques, and a lot of older comics don't want to reach out to them because they feel a certain way. But I would love to always be that bridge that connects the two. That's why I was doing the podcast. I mean, doing the comedy workshop because I thought it was important that if they knew the real techniques of what this business is about, it can be that much greater.
everybody
That's the
thinks we can
thing.
just jump on stage now just because, like, I remember going out one
Yeah,
night and then all of a sudden, I'm TikTok famous. I'm like, I am, make
yeah,
me laugh. They're like,
yeah.
what? Make me
It's
laugh.
that's a whole different. When
Like,
you on stage, that's instant gratification and instant response. You can look down your timeline to see how many people think you were funny, but in the comedy club, you ain't got no timeline. Your timeline is right in front of you, and it'll
right
let you
now.
know right then and there. You know what
right.
I mean?
It's just like
You
these
know.
artists these days. Like I was putting a show together, and one kid's like, "I got 10,000 streams," and I'm like, "How many tickets could you sell?" It's not for Winnipeg, and I'm just like, well, why'd you tell me you got 10,000 streams?
Exactly. That makes no doubt. That's like I got
Like if
I
you
got a
got
gun.
10,000 streams in Winnipeg alone, I could understand that. But if you're gonna
Right.
tell me that once you put up a post and nobody's coming to watch you, or no one wants to buy anything to watch you, how could you say that you made it?
Exactly. I can tell you I got a gun and my bullets at the house. What difference does it make?
I love that.
Right.
Shit, you know, if
Be
you
better
can't
off
get to it,
having
it
the
don't make a
damn
difference
bullet
right
and leaving the
now.
gun at the house. At least you
Right.
can give somebody a bullet to shoot at. Shit.
Right. Ooh,
Actually, that's
You
that,
want
that,
to
you
that,
meet
shoot
me down the
anyway.
street. I'm on
That's
your
why you
ass
didn't
if I
have
get
no
down the
All
bullet.
right.
street.
well,
That
Get to the
gun that
street.
ain't gonna shoot
it's
them
just
damn
like
bullet.
it's just like you go pick a fight with somebody, and next thing you know, you leave the fight, run home, and go on Facebook. I'll go get him the next time I see him. Like it's just
Exactly.
You
You know,
was
all you
just
gotta do is
with
send him a message that says, all you need to do is push Control, Alt, Delete, and kill yourself.
Right.
Yeah, man. That's cool. Well, let's do that. Let's do that.
appreciate
Yes,
you.
sir. We
Yeah,
appreciate
we'll
you,
work in the
my brother
background.
Shaun Jones. May the
I
Creator
appreciate
grant
you, brother.
you know, everything you want, everything you built. You know, your path, like you said, staying in your own lane, and the blessings that are for you are for you. So
Yes, sir.
again, thank you for your time and this interview.
Thank
And
y'all,
until
brother.
next time,
Yes,
yeah.
sir. I appreciate you, brothers, man. And I'll have him write my Jay gonna write my obituary. So I don't want you ain't gotta write it too soon because I ain't trying to use it too soon. So
I already see.
all right, y'all, man. Appreciate y'all, brothers, man.
Likewise, brother. All right, peace.
The most versatile hip hop radio station in the world. Phenomenal Radio.